Hey, Max here. So I want to update the best theme teams in Madden 19 Ultimate Team. So we're gonna go through and rank all the best theme teams based off, team, NFL team. This is put together by Accidental Juke on the Mudhead forum. So check it out. He keeps it updated fairly regularly. So it's pretty awesome. He has the overall, he's broken down and stuff like that. Some of the teams, it's not gonna be a straight overall because they're mitigating circumstances. So I want to show what we had last time. This was the ranking last time. All right, so all the way up to the top, and Taiwan's always number one. But those are the ranking theme teams. I was surprised with how these things changed. But I'll put in the link, the description, the Mudhead whatever. So let's go with the bottom two right away since I already exposed them. I have a ranking that, like, this number right next to it is if they've gone up or down. So Jaguars actually went down a spot from last time. But let's look at the Cardinals and the Jags right off the bat. Hopefully I can knock through this pretty quickly because I got things to do, things to see, people to do, I guess is the old saying, right? Cardinals. And so we got Jaguars. There really isn't a lot to love on this team, right? Poor quarterbacks, poor receivers, poor offensive line. The secondary needs a lot of help. We got a couple good outside linebackers. Overall, pretty poor. The next up, Cardinals, is actually the worst one. Worse than the Jags, in my opinion. Terrible offensive line, not good tight end, wide receivers. Only one solid one. Your quarterback sucks. Peterson and David, not bad. David, you can put out wide. Your defense also is pretty pathetic. So I don't know if you guys want theme teams to be balanced across the league with overalls or not. That'd be kind of a hard thing for EA to do based off, good teams should get good cards, right? But otherwise, these two teams are suffering quite a bit. Move up next is to the Browns. Let's see if we can't fly through this. I'm not going to break down the teams too much. Hopefully I can make this a little bit quicker than last time like I talked about. So the Browns, again, you got some holes on the offensive line, but it's only one hole, and most every single team has a hole in the offensive line right now. Njoku's okay. Otto, you got two quarterbacks. Unfortunately, your two best players here, I guess you could count Landry too. All right, at a position you're going to use one person at. Otherwise, the rest of your offense kind of stinks. Your defense isn't much better. You got some talent at linebacker, defensive end, but that's about it. Your secondary kind of sucks. All right, next up after the Browns is Bengals, who actually lost a spot. So the Browns and Jaguars, in my mind, switched spots right there. Bengals lost a spot, so let's go ahead and take a look at what them Bojangles are up to. And right there, offensive line, you got a couple holes. You got a good, decent, okay tight end. Wide receivers are very solid. Dalton's not underrated, and he's just not very good. Perfect. Yeah, your secondary, very meh right there across the board. Pretty easy to understand why they're so ranked low. Dolphins also lost a spot, in my opinion, from the last theme team. They really haven't gotten a ton of cards. They got a couple, of course, cards in the last couple months, but nothing spectacular. Your offensive line's got some holes. Tight end is not good at all. Your wide receivers got some talent. Your quarterback's a statue in the pocket. Ricky Williams is a stud. Your defense, again, a lot of holes. You do not want to see any holes in the secondary if you want a competent theme team, which is where a lot of teams do suffer at. So that's why they're rated a little bit lower. There's some theme teams, as you guys know, in this game that are absolutely bonkers. Redskins lost a lot. Like, Redskins used to have what I consider one of the best defenses in the theme team game. But they really haven't had a lot, and there's good reason why they haven't got a lot of cards. It's because they really haven't done a whole lot on the field. Their wide receiver, they got a little bit of speed. They got a good quarterback, halfback, but their offensive skill positions outside of halfback there kind of suck. But yeah, their defense, their DBs, they're up there for some of the best DBs in the game there. Deion Sanders is, so many teams have him. That's really nice to get him on the squad. So DBs there, very good in Washington. All right, otherwise, the rest of it kind of bad. Giants also lost a spot. You're like, wow, a lot of people losing spots. There's some teams that really boosted themselves up in the ratings. So next up, Giants. We'll flash you over here. And offensive line, pathetic. Tight end, great. Wide receivers. Odell's going to get an upgraded card soon, right? He's kind of been a while. One of the best halfbacks in the game. Eli Manning got a statue in the pocket, unfortunately. Your defense is solid with a couple holes there. You got some decent talent overall though, and you got LT, an absolute wrecking ball. But those DBs kind of you lose me with the DBs there. All right, Lions. Oh, I show Bills, so I'll just show Lions. Lions lost a lot of spots too. So Lions and Bills will bring up over here. So Lions I think Lions took the biggest tumble, if I'm not mistaken, of all the teams. Even though they got Megatron, they've always had Megatron, but since I did it last time, but they even got the newest one, the Ultimate Legend. Here it is, the Lions. Not much talent in the offensive line. Tight end, not very good. Your quarterback, again, good but statuesque. Your Barry Sanders is wonderful. Your wide receivers are wonderful. Your defense, a lot of gold cards right there. In Megatron, Quinn can play strong safety for you. Yeah, not a ton of high-end talent there on the defense to really make plays and speed across the field. To really be a competitive team. Next up, Bills. Oh, I think I already showed them, so I already brought them up. Bills, offensive line, one good player, tight end. He's okay. Your wide receivers are phenomenal. Allen is very competent, actually pretty decent right there at quarterback, so he gets some points for the roster. Your running back's great. Your defense, a lot of low 90s. No like, huge playmakers. You got, of course, Bruce Smith and Gilmore, but not exactly anything that like stands out, unfortunately. So that's why Bills kind of got rated at 24. All right, let's go. Next up, Colts. You're like, oh man, Colts. Colts did improve a bit, but not really a lot. Like I talked about with playmakers, with top end cards. You know the difference makers in Mutt. The Mosses, the Vicks, the so on and so forth. Teams with those kind of difference makers along with solid supporting cast is great. So Dallas Clark at tight end can spin, can basically do it all. He's not the tallest for high points, but offensive line is perfectly cromulent. It's good. Wide receiver, you got one high-end skill guy in T.Y. Pierre Garçon can do in a pinch, but he isn't exactly a playmaker. Luck just got a card. Wonderful. Your running back is fringe average at best. Your safeties, cornerbacks, again, low 90s, high 80s. Nothing really to shake a stick there at defense. You got some good front seven action, though, outside of these two. Next up, so that's why Colts, they're good, they're high, they're not the greatest. All right, here we go. Buccaneers is the next man up. Offensive line, 1-2 solid contributors. Offensive line isn't something I really place a lot of weight on because you know how it is broken normally. Tight end Dallas Clark, phenomenal. Your wide receiver is phenomenal. Steve Young, phenomenal. Your running back sucks. You got a fullback. You got two good fullbacks. Yay. You can run a fullback dive, or I guess they'd be okay for running the ball, but nothing special. Your defense, it's got some decent players, but nothing like that like grabs your breath away. I guess I was gonna go more lewd there, but I'm not going to. So Buccaneers get it right there at 22. 20 and 21, Chargers and Titans. You're like, Chargers made the playoffs. How'd they go down in skill? Well, just take a look at their squad, and then you tell me why you'd rank it higher. But I honestly, I want to hear from all of you guys if you guys would rank these squads higher. So here's the Chargers. Actually, let's go to Titans. Titans cards, good offensive line, good run blocking tight end. Wide receivers, you got Moss. Mariota, I think, sinks a little bit. He's got a little bit of a noodle arm right now. Got good legs on him, though. Your secondary, you got good secondary players here, and then your cornerbacks are also very solid. Your linebacking, you don't have a top tier user if I recall. So a pretty solid all around squad. As you see, the squads are starting to slightly improve in quality and some talent there, but again, nothing that really jumps out of the sheet like the top end guys, top end teams will. Chargers, decent offensive line, tight end, two good ones. Your wide receivers there are a little bit less skilled than I like to see. Drew Brees, you got a couple statues in the pocket there. LaDainian Tomlinson's very solid. Your defense, again, good but not great. Derwin's obviously phenomenal, and your two corners are great. But outside of Bosa, Melvin's solid. There isn't anything that really like grabbed me, and there's some holes there in the positions. So that's why Chargers are at 20. Let's go at 3. These next 3, keep speeding through. Steelers, Vikings, Texans. So we'll bring up those. Texans, Steelers, Vikings. Ooh, guys, right near the end of the alphabet. All right, so what do we got? Texans, you are number 19. Good left tackle. Otherwise, the offensive line's weak in the middle. Tight end sucks. Your wide receivers are good. Deshaun Watson's solid. Your running backs are not up to snuff. Secondary is great. Your front seven is good. You got like one good defensive lineman, but otherwise these guys are solid. So your linebacker core solid, but that's like nothing out of this world. Next up, let's do number 18 is the Vikings. Offensive line, a couple good players, basically just McDaniel. Your tight end is meh. Your wide receivers are very good. Thielen and Moss, good tall boys. McNabb's a good quarterback. Adrian Peterson, good running back. Your secondary, solid safeties because you can put Harrison Smith over. Your linebacking core, good. You're missing a hole there at Gedden, so you're going to either have a bad CB or a bad outside linebacker on the field at all times. But overall, pretty solid contributors. Trey Waynes, bad zone coverage, but fast, so that's always lovely. So there's the Vikings and then Steelers here. Offensive line is solid across the board with a little bit of a hole there, left guard. The Jesse James is okay. McDonald's a little bit faster. Your wide receivers are good. You know, they're not exactly tall, but they're nice shifty. Got some speed on them. You got Mike Vick. That's it. Having Mike Vick on your squad is just absolute, like, bonkers bonus to you, right? This guy gets up to, you could probably get up to, like, 98 speed, maybe. And then you got Bettis, Bell. You got so many running backs, you can't even shake a stick at them all. I think Franco's probably the best running back you got on the squad. He can get lead my way and truck specialist, and, yeah, pretty freaking nice. The thing that sinks this team while it's not good is these DBs. They need, like, a Carnell Lake type, some safety. But you got 2 CBs that are competent. Hayden's okay. You're going to put, like, Cody Sensible or Hayden there at safety. And then Hilton, too. So that's basically those 2 positions sink the entire roster because you don't have enough DBs to fill in competent players. But otherwise, pretty good players across the board there for the Steelers theme team. But otherwise, they are ranked 17th. Let's go on, like, groups of 3. So Panthers, one of our big risers. Maybe one of our big, if not the biggest riser. Panthers have a really good squad. So we'll go Panthers. I said I was going to go fast on this. Sorry, I haven't got, it's been 11 minutes. I'll get to hurry up. And Bears. Okay, bring it over. So here are the Panthers team. This is the Panthers team. Offensive line is marginal. Great tight ends. Wide receivers, phenomenal. Cam's great. Christian McCaffrey's wonderful. Defense, you got Kuechly, Kevin Green. Thomas Davis is okay. Your free safety sucks. Your strong safety is marginal at best. Your DBs are okay. Then you got a decent front 7 and one of the best users, if not the best user in the game, there on your roster. So that really helps out a lot. You can put him at linebacker. So overall, very solid because you got Reggie White to take a spot easily, and then Poe. So Panthers are great, just missing a couple spots on defense in the secondary. Same issue with the Steelers. All right, next up, we have the Jets. Jets, I was surprised. I kind of like this team. The offensive line is not good. Tight end's not good, but you got Mike Vick. You got fast AF receivers, a good running back, fullback, if you use fullbacks. Your secondary is very nice. You got 3 top-end cards there. He's average, maybe. And then you got a front 7 that's pretty darn good, too, to go along with it. Well, maybe just a front line and then a couple decent linebackers. So there's the Jets. Next up, I said Bears. Bears is one ahead of Jets. Good tight end, marginal O-line. Wide receiver court is very marginal, too. Your quarterback sucks. Your running back's good. But your defense is bonkers. You got amazing users, linebackers. Defense is secondary. Prince is okay. And then you got one of the best users in the game along with Khalil Mack. You can probably just put him as a pass rusher because you got Roquan to user or Urlacher. But yeah, overall, great top-end cards there on defense. But your offense is going to kind of suffer there if you're a Bears team fan. All right. Saints, Ravens, Falcons are the next 3 up. So let me bring them up here. Saints, Ravens, Falcons. So Saints, who lost a spot. But yeah, I did move the Bears down 4 positions from their last one because they don't have a lot of offensive weapons. And Walter Payton at quarterback isn't the greatest, most consistent passing threat. So, yeah, good offensive line with 1 hole, I'd say, at left guard. Shockey's wonderful. Jimmy Graham's a great high-point target. Your wide receivers are phenomenal. Your quarterback's a statue, unfortunately. Ricky Williams and Peterson are there, but he can make accurate throws. Your quarterback can. Your secondary is solid. You got a couple good middle linebackers that you can put at different positions. But, yeah, your secondary is missing a couple players, but otherwise, good defensive line. So that's the Saints. The Ravens... Studs across the board except for center. Maybe you want to move Stanley there. Tight end, best 2 tight end, I think, in the game. Combo right there. Maybe you could use a high point target, but solid there. Joe Flacco, statue again. That sucks. Ricky Williams, you got good receivers. Steve Smith's great. Your secondary, free safety, fringe average, not even, a little slow. Good linebackers, of course. It is the Ravens. Defensive line leaves a little bit wanting, but then your secondary is also very good. And right here, Falcons, Gonzo, receivers. You got Mike Vick. That's a huge boost. Freeman, wonderful, 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 except for defensive back, secondary. All right, next up, next 3 up, Cowboys, Broncos, Packers. Cowboys, Broncos, Packers. So Packers is number 10. And here we go. Packers, offensive line, you got some holes there, but you got some good players. Tight end Jimmy Graham is perfectly great at high points, not a great blocker. Wide receivers are good. Rodgers, a little bit of mobility, kind of statuesque. Halfbacks, not fringe average at best. Nitschke, secondary is okay. And defensive line, you got one of the best users again. You got that Reggie White cheese too. So there's the Packers. Broncos. You got John Elway. Your offensive line is whatever. Tight end's great. Wide receivers are fine. Halfback's great. Your defense is absolutely wonderful. I love it. I love it. DBs, yeah. Broncos good. Cowboys, great offensive line, like they should have. Shitty tight ends. Very, very, very good wide receivers. Dak's a little bit under what you want as a quarterback. Otherwise, your DBs, solid across the board. You'll need to sub in for your strong safety. So, yeah, as you see, the teams are getting much better once we're getting higher up. Card quality is going up across the board. Number 5, 6, and 7 is Eagles, Chiefs, Raiders. Eagles, Chiefs, Raiders. And you can see Broncos right there. Ever since they got Elway, they got boosted up in the rankings quite a bit. The quarterback was sorely needed on the Broncos. So here it is. The Eagles, solid across the board. They got Mike Vick. They got great receivers. Halfbacks under what you want. Defense is also getting very good and very up here. Missing a couple cornerbacks. That's your biggest weakness, but otherwise you're pretty strong across the board. Next up is Chiefs. Mahomes, Marcus. You got speed freaks. Tight end, amazing. Line's less than you want. Good linebackers. They're just kind of stacked. Parker, I hardly know her. You got some decent CBs there too. So Chiefs are higher. I think they took a little bit of a tumble. They took a one-spot tumble. Raiders went up 3 spots with their additions. Offensive line's pretty whatever. Cook's decent. Moss is obviously godly. Same with Rice and Brown. And they even have Cooper. So you can go a 4 wide receiver set. Marshawn, Marcus Allen. You just have like a wealth of tools on offense. Derek Carr, not the greatest right now, but still solid. You got a lot. You can move over strong safety. Linebackers. Defensive linemen. Mack and Long. And your cornerbacks. Cromartie's okay. Nothing special there, though. Next up. Next 3. 4, 3, 2 is... Oh, we kind of gave it away. Let's just give the number 1 away. Number 1 is Taiwan. But we'll go through this. The Seahawks took the highest reach of any theme team. I want to show you the Seahawks theme team. It got fucking crazy. 49ers, Rams, and Patriots. It would make sense that the top 2 teams in the game are the teams that went to the Super Bowl. But here you are for the Seahawks. Solid line across the board with the exception of right guard. Tight end Jimmy Graham, I'm perfectly fine with him. With his height and high points. Russell Wilson's a good quarterback. You got good receivers. Your no-fly zone is fully in effect. Your linebackers, your Bobby Wagner, great user. You got good linebackers, good defensive linemen. Yeah, what more could you ask for? So they took a huge step up with the recent cards to the Seahawks team. That's why Seahawks is up there for one of the most competitive teams. 49ers has been here all year. They've had talent at skill position, talent at tight end, talent everywhere you wanted on offense. On defense, they got some game changers. And you can put Rod Woodson there at strong safety, run a 4 DB set along with your solid linebacking core. You're a little weak along the D-line there. You'll probably have one bad D-lineman that you can play in. Either Marsh or Solomon, but you got Bryant and so on. So there's the San Francisco. Next up, the Rams. You know, they were in the Super Bowl. They got a lot of Super Bowl cards across probably the top offensive line in the game. Tight end sucks. You got Cooks, who's speedy. Goff, who's fine. Gurley, who's great. You got Bettis backing up. Cooper, he didn't get any upgrades, although he should. Woods is phenomenal too. You got John Johnson. Your secondary is phenomenal. Your defensive front is absolutely like game-changing difference makers. And your linebacking core is okay too. Barron's a good, decent user. Next, and the number 1 theme team is the Patriots. Offensive line not up there with the Rams, but still very good. Gronk, fucking awesome. I like him. A good run blocker, good high pointer. Moss, of course. Edelman, Cooks. So you got speed, you got running backs. You can rotate. You got Tom Brady, unfortunately. He's a statue in the pocket. So that hurts the team, but look at this. Like, I mean, just high 90s across the board. It's not even close. Like, this is up there with every other single God squad in the game. Even, like, Jason McCourty is number 4 cornerback. That's how bonkers the Patriots team. So, the teams that hit the Super Bowl, obviously, are right up there as the #1 teams in the league in the game. So that's it. That's the list. The big risers and losers, obviously, like talked about. Seahawks, Raiders went up a little bit. Eagles lost some spot. Broncos went up a ton when they got Elway. Finally getting a competent quarterback, so a lot of teams lost. Panthers went up a bunch too. Steelers down, Texans down, Chargers. Lions lost a lot of spots too, all the way down to the bottom of the list. Redskins went down too. All right, that's it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you think my ranks are off or who you think the best team is. Any and everything. Thanks for watching Call to Action. I'll see you tomorrow.